seems seems weird enough for me to say, but I'm I'm old enough to remember when Jacob Rees-Mogg said that food, goods, clothing, just stuff in general would get cheaper after Brexit. um, you know, we've always said it since the very beginning. As soon as Brexit happened, even before we quote got Brexit done, under Boris Johnson, there would be research, there would be papers just showing the impact of what has happened to the UK's economy, how it would affect trade, and all these things, as we've said before, were predicted. It was basically like, look, you're going to remove a jigsaw piece. So what do you think is going to happen? You're not going to be able to complete the jigsaw, are you? Your picture will be incomplete because you have removed that one piece. And most of this stuff was, basic maths. We knew the equations of what they were going in when you couldn't factor in being in the EU. So we knew this going in. And of course, this was branded Project Fear. But more and more, we've seen the research, we've seen the evidence of what the cause has been. It is Brexit. Now, there are slowly but surely conversations happening in and around that include Brexit. Even Rishi Sunak has somewhat tentatively very tiptoed towards the line. And of course, even Keir Starmer has done so as well. But they're almost playing a very blind man's bluff game, almost, to see who can sort of creep closest without, shall we say, the Brexiteers realizing what's going on. But slowly and surely, we are hearing somewhat good signs. I know it's not, the stuff that we want to hear, but going in this direction is a very good sign. So slowly but surely, we're getting there. We're headed in the right direction. Maybe it's not as fast as some people would like, but hey, we'll get there. And stuff like this, we're going to go today, only helps get us there more faster and certainly more quickly. So, over we go today to a piece of research that's come out that, surprise, surprise, of all things, guess what? Food has increased. Again, one thing that the Leave campaign promised they made, food prices would be cheaper. Yeah, it turns out no. So, before we go diving into this piece today, please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button on your way out. No, don't on your way out, but yes, hit them. But yeah, I've all flustered myself now. But yes, there's links down below to my Patreon page and a one-off link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much to all those people who do help and support the channel that ways. And of course, there is the YouTube thank you button. And of course, the Pony Club down below you can join as well. So as always, today, like I say, on we go with the show. So we go over to the Guardian today with their title on this, of the title of Brexit added nearly £6 billion to UK food bills in 2 years, research finds. Brexit has added almost £6 billion to UK food bills in 2 years to the end of 2021, affecting the poorest households the most, researchers found. The cost of food imported from the EU shot up because of this extra red tape, adding £100 and £210 to the average household food bills over 2020 and 2021, the London School of Economics researchers have discovered. Of course, we knew this was going to happen. Second you leave the single market customs union, up come these trade barriers, in comes all this new paperwork that you now have to fill out. Again, this was very much predicted back in 2016. So back to it. As low-income families spend a greater share of their income on food, the impact of Brexit on their purchases was disproportionately greater, they said. The research comes today after the data from the British Retail Consortium and trade body showed that UK food price inflation hit a record high of 12.4% in November, as the prices of basics such as eggs, dairy products, and coffee rose. Researchers at the Centre for Economic Performance at the LES studied the macro data and the trending trade flows and consumer prices for foods in the UK to identify and transfer of the cost of Brexit red tape to households. We've found that leaving the European Union increased the price of food products by 3% a year, leading to a 6% increase over a 2-year period, they said in the report, and they named the non-tariff barriers and the consumer prices as evidence from Brexit. The calculations translated to at least £5.84 billion of the cost of the food market alone, equating to £210 per household. The CEP also found that the Brexit-induced price led to a rise in overall cost of living increases for the poorest households of 1.1%, to 52% more than the 0.7% rise that fell on top of the 10% of households in Britain. In 2015, the year before the referendum, 77% of food exports were from the EU. And after the December 2019 elections, researchers found that the immediate rise in food prices from the EU, as businesses then reliant on products and ingredients immediately began to pass it on to consumers. Again, of course they were going to. You know, and like I say, we've been saying this for the longest time. The cost of customers and administration staff and other Brexit staff, the report said. Regulatory costs also varied according to the product, with fresh meat and red products identified as a high non-tariff barrier to the NTB because of the paperwork required to hit the vegetables such as onions, carrots, broccoli, even close to zero NTB costs. The researchers found that price rises on products with the high NTB costs with little significant costs for the products in the low or zero NTB categories. The CPE said that the single market was a, quote, deep trading bloc that eliminated tariffs and also regulatory differences on food standards, allowing for frictionless trade between member states, including the UK, before Brexit. Lord Frost's Brexit trade deal, signed at the end of the transition period in December of 2020, ensures a, quote, trade is tariff-free with the EU, but has created trade barriers from the form of customs rules and origins of paperwork and even regulatory standards for agri-food products. I'm leaving the EU and the UK swamped in a deep trade relationship with a few impediments to trade, from where one of wide-ranging checks to forms and steps are required before even goods can cross the border. Firms face a higher costs, and most are passed on to those customers, said Richard Davis, the professor at Bristol University and co-author of the report. He has said that the rise of the non-tariff barriers for the trade with the EU had contributed to 11% inflation of the UK's expenditure and the highest in over 40 years. One benefit of Brexit was that domestic food producers now face less competition from European imports, the note reported. But it added that the gains to domestic firms are outstripped by the loss to domestic customers by more than £1 billion. Additionally, unlike other regular tariffs, NDBDs do not generate any revenue for the government. Nikki Data, the assistant professor for economics at Warwick University, and even another co-author of the study, said that the political implications are stark. The non-tariff barriers are an important impediment to trade and should be the first order of concern, at least on par with tariffs for policymakers' interest in low consumer prices. So, are we surprised at this? No. This was long predicted of what will be going on here. We've now just got the research to say, yes, we were right what we were saying in 2016. And for the fact that you can see that you've got, contributing to at least 11% potential inflation in these prices, then yeah. And eventually we are going to have to sort of deal with these tariff barriers. And that basically means closer alignment. That means aligning with EU standards. So this whole EU revocation bill, I think is going to get dropped. I don't think Sunak's going to go for it. I don't think he can. I don't think he can even afford the British economy to be hit by more inflation, because one of the things Sunak is hoping desperately for is that somehow inflation will magically come down. So far, it doesn't really show any signs of going that way. But he and Jeremy Hunt are sat in, in number 10 like this, going, please, inflation, please go down. And yeah, there is again no plan for growth because there is very little chance that Sunak or Hunt could be even potentially pass one in Parliament because of the current even rebellions going on, just show how ungovernable everything is. And once again, I think that this honeymoon period, some people have said it has now very quickly become a shipwreck. And it's just a question now of how long do the Tories seriously want to go on. And there is a question I think that should be started to ask by the public. If this is the state of the current government, why are they staying like this? If they know that they are so bad and they know that they can't get anything done, why are they staying? And I think that should be a message that we should start saying, and Labour should increasingly start saying towards the government as well. So, as always, like I say, guys, please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and a rotation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, well, buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much for watching. And of course, please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button on your way out. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and a rotation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, well, buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much for watching, guys, and we'll see you all next time.